I make video games. To do that, I use something called a game engine. In my case, I use Construct 3. Now you're looking at the title of the video and you're thinking, okay, if you don't use Unity, why are you talking about Unity? And that's sort of the point. Allow me to explain. Let's talk game design. There is a recent and recurring trend in gaming circles for people who are not game developers to talk seemingly knowledgeably about game development. Now, it's one thing for an overblown, sarcastic, slightly arrogant but nonetheless very lovable old British man to sit behind a PC and spew thousands of words of articulate nonsense into a microphone about the choices that are made in game design. It is, after all, why you're here and why you should like and subscribe. But it's another thing entirely for people with absolutely zero experience in the process to spout nonsense into the ether to thousands of people about something they fundamentally don't understand. It's bad for all of us, and I'm here to put it right. Now, what I'm not going to do is call anyone out. I'm not going to hold up a shameful example of some poor kid having opinions in a YouTube video about why Unity is very bad for things that Unity isn't even responsible for, because this is not a witch hunt. And although I know my audience are full of lovely, wonderful people, I have a responsibility as a content creator to not unwittingly cause a bunch of snarky comments to rain down on someone and cause them undue stress and emotional upheaval. That would be deeply irresponsible. Instead, I'll just outline the problem for you first, and you'll know exactly what I mean. Imagine a fictional YouTuber, we'll call him Steve the Wiz, doing a video review of something like, I don't know, Super Monkey Ball, and saying something like, the physics and movement of the game feel off, and this is because it's made in Unity. Now, if you don't know anything about Unity or game development, that might sound like a perfectly reasonable criticism. It sounds like something that you might hear a lot, and like a standard problem in game development throughout the industry. It's also wrong. Because I don't use Unity, I can't make an example in Unity to prove my point. But I do use Construct 3, and I have an example I can make to you quite well. This is Reiterate. It's a game I made, it's available on Steam, you should go and buy it. Reiterate is a 2D platformer that focuses on speed and fluidity, and there's an entire massive devlog series about what it took to go from nothing to finished, which is really great, and you should go and binge watch it once you're done here. Construct 3, the game engine, has a series of what are known as behaviours. A behaviour is a pre-made set of, well, behaviours that you can assign to an object to make it behave a certain way. For example, platform. If you add the platform behaviour to an object, it'll act like a basic platformer character. Here's an example of that happening. Now, to me, the default values in Construct 3's platform movement don't feel right. They're slow, and even by my admittedly free-flowing standards, a little bit too floaty. If I'd left them like this, Reiterate wouldn't have felt satisfying and just good to play, which as a game designer is at the top of my list of priorities. In fact, in the very first episode of the devlog series for Reiterate, I talked about variables. Here are my variables. Variable. These control things like movement speed, gravity, jump height, whether you should jump extra high if you're holding the jump button down, things like that. And they have to be right. If they're not right, nothing will ever be good, ever again, ever. But if I had left them like this and then released the game onto Steam, would it have been right then to say that Construct 3's physics made the game feel bad? No, it wouldn't. Of course it wouldn't. Because it would have been up to me as the designer and developer to address that issue. It's not the engine's fault any more than you can blame your oven if your cake comes out tasting like salt. The Unity situation is exactly the same. All game engines are exactly the same in this regard. Yes, many of them have default values and variables, default ways of working, and default physics or behaviours that you can, if you want, just leave as they are. But if you do, and then doing that negatively affects the way your game feels or plays, that's not the engine's fault, that's your fault. You might now be thinking, okay Zane, but we're not being mean about indie developers doing little easy things because they're on their own. We're talking about massive AAA companies being lazy and using Unity for stuff they should make themselves. Right, but you're wrong again. Stop it. Unity, like every other game engine out there, is a tool. Many game studios and development teams, especially the ones with all the big bucks, use their own in-house engines. EA, for example, has the Frostbite engine that DICE developed, and as far as I know, they use it for everything. Now, does that mean that if I'm playing an EA game and I'm writing up a critique video about it, I'm going to mention what the Frostbite engine is doing to that game? No, of course not. Not least of all because I wouldn't be playing an EA game in the first place, obviously. But past that, I don't know anything about the Frostbite engine. I've never made a game on it, I don't know what it lets you do, what it makes easier or more difficult, and what weird little quirks it has that have an impact on the final product. And that is really the crux of the point. If you're not actively using Unity for something, please shut the hell up about Unity. Because I swear I'm not trying to gatekeep here, but I can guarantee that until you've used any engine, not just Unity, You have no idea how scuffed it actually probably is, which is a final bonus point for you. Armchair critics on YouTube and elsewhere love to blame things on an engine that has nothing to do with that engine, and what they're completely missing out on usually are all the ways that these engines we use are absolutely busted. There are people who use Unity full-time every day for years, who can probably give you 50 reasons why it can occasionally be garbage, but I can guarantee that none of those ever end up in these video essays. You're missing the point, you're wrong, you're very annoying, and please stop it. What we'll do now is run through some alternatives for you, so that you've got things that still say what you wanted to say to begin with, but better. Instead of the default Unity physics make this game feel slow and clunky, try saying, this game feels slow and clunky. Instead of the shiny level of polish on the default Unreal Engine gives a plastic-like tone to the graphics, try saying, there is a plastic-like tone to the graphics. Instead of this game being built in Construct 3 means the frame rate runs in single digits, try saying, Zane still doesn't know how to make games properly. Take the focus away from perceived flaws in an engine you don't use, and focus on the actual flaws that the designer, because this is game design, has left in. Stop talking nonsense about Unity. Kind regards, some idiot with a YouTube channel making a YouTube video about Unity telling you to shut up about Unity in a video about Unity on his YouTube channel. And if you've liked that for some reason, then you should like the video you liked since you liked it, and subscribe for more videos like the video that you liked because you liked it, and I will see you the next time I'm thinking, hey, let's talk game design.